Viewers, on the run is pleased today to have engineer Nasr Al-Hassin, General Manager, Ariab Mining Company, Ministry of Minerals, and former CEO, Noel Petroleum Company, former Global Planning Manager for Africa Shell International Oil Company, and very pleased to have our guest, Dr. Tony Andrew, geologist, CEO, Canadian Mineral Responsible Development Center. It's okay, with the Canadian organizations. And he is former PDAC president. Yeah?
Sure.
You are welcome here first in Sudan.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and secondly, in Sudan, on the run and Alshorooq channel. You are pleased.
I'm very pleased to be here.
Okay, nice. So we started that if we can talk, Mr. Al-Hassin, about that conference which was held last week, and it has many aims like solving problems that face traditional mining, and discovering more potentialities of mining resources in Sudan.
Correct. The Sudan International Mining Forum and Exhibition has been held last week, and this is the second round. The first round took place last year in the same time, at the beginning of March of last year. And it has really attracted most of the people who are concerned with the mineral development in the world. And Dr. Tony is one of the experts who has been with us last year and this year as well.
Yeah.
And the forum itself is getting momentum now, and we can say that we are now taking off towards becoming an international forum that could really look not only on Sudan mineral issues, but also in Africa mineral issues, and play a role in coordinating the efforts from all over the world with the African resources.
Okay, so also the ministry itself has many policies like making partnership with international companies or organizations and centers like that you have, Mr. Tony Andrew, for as you are former president for PDAC as a geologist. So tell me about how we can do such a partnership between here in Sudan and in Canada in term under this umbrella, either of this last occupation for you and now for the actual one for a Canadian Mineral Responsible Development Center.
Sure, there are many ways that a country like Canada and the organizations in Canada can work together with the government of Sudan and the companies in Sudan. So Canada is one of the leading countries with respect to mining. It has a world-leading mining industry. And the government of Canada likes to share its knowledge and resources with other countries who are just starting to develop their industries. Canada has been developing and working on its industry for about 200 years. And it's got to the place where it is now.
Yes.
So we like to share knowledge,
Yes.
transfer knowledge, and knowledge transfer works both ways, not just one way. And we understand that. And the Canadian exploration and mining companies work all over the world. They have global experience, and they're very good at raising money from the capital markets because they're mainly public companies.
Yeah.
So when the economy of the world improves further, there'll be more capital available in the capital markets. And I think the first challenge, I think, for Sudan is to attract those companies to Sudan to explore and find new deposits and to work with the Sudanese government on that.
Of course, and this attraction can be based on what, in your own opinion, based like doing more investment no more taxes on the investment and some stuff like that. What you can see is this attraction can be done by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's very competitive, first of all, because there are probably 180 countries with mineral resources that want investment.
Okay.
So first of all, it's very competitive. But what any country must do is focus on its investment climate and making sure the investment climate works, not only for the investing companies, but also for their own people, because they have two things they need to achieve: attracting foreign direct investment and maximizing the benefits for their own country and the people of Sudan in this case.
Yeah.
So to do that, you need a proper, healthy, strong investment climate.
Yes.
Now, the investment climate consists of quite a number of different parts. Some of them are technical.
Okay.
Like you'll find most mining companies want to have a modern, well thought out mining code.
Yeah.
So a mining act that works well, not just for Sudan, but also for the mining companies. They need to have geological information.
Yes.
So a geological survey that has modern data and information, and it is very easily accessible. What they look for also is an efficient administration. So if they want to get a permit or a concession, they go and do the right things, and that works efficiently. So those are some of the technical things. Rule of law, of course,
Yes.
That's important. On the non-technical side,
Yeah.
it's very, very important for a country to prepare its people for foreign direct investment. I've seen many examples of countries that want foreign direct investment very quickly. They want it in just a few months' time, and you can't do it in a few months' time. You have to have certain things in place first, or else there's going to be problems.
No.
So prepare the people of Sudan for the arrival of the large-scale mining industry, not only society in general, but also local communities and the small-scale
So they can
and
easily
traditional
get
mining.
through into the areas of mining itself, right?
Well, not only that, but so that the people understand what's happening and who these
course.
people are.
Yeah.
So I study conflict and mining around the world and how conflict is
Interesting.
generated.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that conflicts are generated is when the people of the country are not prepared for the arrival of these foreign mining companies, and they wonder what they're doing there. They think they're taking our resources, what's going on. But if they're properly prepared and they are aware of what's happening, then you can decrease the probability of that kind
It's
of
an important
conflict.
point.
Yeah.
So here we can move to Mr. Elhussein and have some comment about this important point, how to acknowledge people around the areas that we can have digging minerals from or have mining. Okay? How we can go through into local communities, the process that can the ministry do it through like campaigns or some volunteering guys that they go and have people and talk with, and what about this?
I think it's a very valid point that's been mentioned by Andrew.
Yes.
In Sudan, we're having a long history of dealing with multinational companies. I myself have been in shell company 22 years of my life. Okay. And these companies work either in oil and gas, work in agriculture. Most of the known international companies working all over the world have been once in Sudan. This is also give us some kind of a preparation towards the point that's being mentioned by Andrew. It's very important that we understand these international large-scale mining companies, when they come to Sudan, they're coming for mutual benefit. It's not just doing a charity, but on the same time, they are not coming to take your resources away. Mm. So this, I think, understanding probably supported by the open mind culture we're having in Sudan. Currently, probably Andrew might comment on this, have been in a visit to some rural areas and some historic antiquity places. He met with some of local people. We're very much welcoming people, but we need to put this in a frame, a legal frame, that is protecting the rights of the investors and also for the local community. The Ministry of Minerals has done a very good job over the last couple of years by establishing the Sudanese Mineral Resources Company. And one of the key divisions or departments of that company is about social responsibility, but also they were focusing on the other legal aspects that bind the relationship between the investor and the local people. In addition to that, the Mining Code of Sudan that's been recently established is setting a very good platform for this kind of relationship in future. Yes, we are. This is the first year of implementing it. We are expecting lots of challenges, and we are prepared and open mind to improve according to what we are finding. But the legal framework in Sudan, I think, is pretty much ready now for accepting the new investments from our side.
Also, he mentioned a very important point, which is you talk about the act and law and investment, and it should be like international. It can fit all the companies coming from different countries. This is an important point. We want you to shed light about the Investment Act.
Yes, I think it's very important to refer back to what has been said by His Excellency, the Ambassador of Her Majesty, the Queen of the United Kingdom, when he said that this year, 2017, is the opportunity year for Sudan. And I know with the history and the heritage of the relationship between Sudan and UK, people in UK very much understanding what is Sudan and how Sudan is ready for that. So when he's talking about opportunity, it means that we are really moving a step forward in preparing ourselves for this kind of relationship. This is your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay. So because he wants to know the atmosphere to be enabled from every country that some investors or companies of investment coming to find the situation is suitable and easygoing and organized and like straight.
Correct, yes.
Okay, and it is important now we have a great shift in Sudanese economic. We have lifting sanctions, U.S. sanctions, and now the ground is much different than previous. And how you can see it in a Canadian manner, okay? You see now Sudan is promising? Yeah?
Well, I think Sudan has always been promising. You have an amazing mineral endowment.
Okay.
You have lots of different types of minerals that many investors are interested in. But now the sanctions have been lifted. That is a big step because I know that they should have been lifted a long time ago because Sudan complied with all the conditions, but for some reason the United States took a long time to do this. So now that's a big message for the rest of the world that those sanctions are going to be lifted. And I think that's going to make a big difference. There's going to be a leap. And as Mr. Hassin says, there's a lot of interest by the investment community in the UK already.
Nice.
And I think that's just going to increase because of these sanctions being lifted, and you'll see that happen all around the world.
Yeah.
So Canadian exploration business are risk takers. They go everywhere around the world. So they will look at Sudan and they'll see, well, this country is not a high risk, and yet look at all the minerals. So they will want to come. They will want to come. So my message is that when they come, Sudan, be prepared.
Yeah.
Okay? So because countries like Chile and Peru, where I've done a lot of work, they did the same thing, and they were very rich in minerals. They opened the doors to foreign direct investment, and it came, and it came, and it came. And they got taken by surprise a bit.
Yes.
And so they're still trying to get their legal regime right because it's complicated. It's not easy. Right. So my recommendation to countries is always make sure that it's as best as you can and can have it. And in talking to Hassin and his colleagues and Mr. Abu Fatima, my impression is that They are working very hard to get there, and they want it to be an environment of responsible mineral development. And I'm convinced that they're going to have that done.
Okay.
Probably the time is an issue.
Well,
yes, time factor.
It is a factor, because this
yeah.
takes a long time for the journey to go from where you are to the modern global mining industry.
Yeah.
Is a long and complicated journey. You can't do it in 1 year. You have to take it step by step. And when you have a complicated task
in a long
like
run,
this,
maybe in a short one. Yeah.
that's right. You need a strategic approach. So you have short, medium, and long-term
Yes.
goals, and you achieve it incrementally like that, and you'll get there.
Okay, so we're shifting to engineer Nasr. So the ministry, of course, has the plans, right? And
Yes.
strategic plans.
Yes.
How now the ministry can see such like framework to be done on the ground, and which strategic one in the short one, or in the long strategic policies for the ministry to accomplish everything to be the ground ready for investors to come mining?
I think should be done in cooperation between all of the stakeholders.
Okay.
And generally, the policymakers of this country, they are really understanding very well now there is a real challenge that when you open up, the real challenges are coming. When you're closed down, whether with embargo or anything else, you are just focusing into your national issues. But now, opening up to the world, there is real challenges to come. The integration between the Ministry of Minerals, Ministry of Investment, Ministry of Finance, Bank of Sudan, there is a dialogue that started, yeah? And we've been almost last month in 3 or 4 committees, joint committees between all of these bodies together to try to resolve whether there are some cross-border, some gray areas that we need to look into and address them. But in general, I think the main platform is the mineral resources law that's been approved 2 years ago. Second one is the formulation of the higher commission of the mineral resources, which is led by His Excellency the President himself. So these are really kind of modus operandi that we are looking for in getting things done among the ministries together. Yeah. Second thing is that last year there was a successful work that's being done by the Minister of Minerals in trying to get some rules and means of how the investors, when they come to Sudan, to understand the environment quickly, getting most of the knowledge required ready in hand, and also try to kind of escort them towards where to do this and how to do this. And I think this has been approved by the Parliament already. It's in place. We are stepping into the implementation. Yeah. I cannot guarantee that the implementation will be smooth, but yes, we are following it. As a team in the ministry, we are working together to, whether there is an obstacle, we need to work hard to remove it. This is on the side of the legal framework. On the other side of availing the geological and the other information required, now we are having a very good cooperation that took place between Sudan and the French Geological Survey. Last year we've had the successful meeting between us and BRGM, which is the French Geological Survey Department, and we've successfully got the acquisition and possession of geological maps that we didn't have. Same thing has been done with the Russians, and same also is now underway with the UK Geological Survey. Yeah. I think it's hard. Yeah, the way is long. It's tough, but I think we are capable of doing it.
Yeah, it's okay. So we hope so everything can go into right stream. Okay, so it's important here when you come Sudan, you tour around, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh yes, and you see like a Nile Street and Bejrawiya and National Museum, you know.
That's right.
All these sites you are fascinated by.
I went to Merowe as well.
Okay.
And that was very, very interesting. yes.
Okay, as far I could know that you're activist in civilization.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So precisely what you can see after your tour about this as your activist in civilization, but you can still in a good analysis of Sudan civilization.
Well, it has a long and deep history, and I'm very sensitive to that because I come from a country, Canada, that has a pretty short history, actually.
Yes, like 100 years back, right? Or more?
Yeah, well, a little bit more than 100 years, but
okay.
not going back thousands of years, right?
Thousands of years.
So as I said to the guests at the dinner the other night, Canada is a teenager compared to the Sudanese, and we have lots to learn from you, right?
Yeah.
But even in Merowe, we saw that iron ore was being mined and smelted at 800 BC. That's a long time ago. That's probably the oldest known mining operation that's been dated by carbon dating. It's been verified. Yeah. So, so the opportunity to come and see this kind of antiquity is very important to me and very fascinating too. And in fact, I'm reading a very interesting book right now called The Gene, and it's all about the history of the science of genetics and the development of the human genome. Yeah. And the implications of that area are huge. So, for instance, our genes record all our ancestry, right to the very beginning. Oh, yes. So they've looked at 2,000 people.
It's like origin of humanity.
The origin of humanity. In Sudan.
Yes, there is a big argument about this issue.
Well, not so much now because the genetic code doesn't lie. It tells the truth.
Of course.
And so modern man came from southern Africa, near the border of Namibia, and migrated 200,000 years ago, started to migrate up through Ethiopia, through what became Sudan, across the Red Sea, and then they spread around the world. So we all come from the same family. You know, the implications of that are amazing. What can connect us more than that? All of us. But the journey got to Sudan, to became Sudan, a lot longer before they got to Canada, right? A few tens of thousands of years. So again, that emphasizes the antiquity of Sudan and its history. Very fascinating.
Okay, we do appreciate it. So at the end, I can give you like a chance to have like a word for our audiences.
Yes, I think probably I just want to comment on the last words from Tony.
Yeah.
That there is a direct link between Sudan civilization, which is a Kushite civilization, and the minerals. And this is a very important part of it because we are doing minerals, and we've realized that there are some old mines now being discovered in the Red Sea Mountains. These mines used to be run in the past to exploit gold and iron. And this is one of the earliest civilization in the world that dealt professionally with minerals. Yeah. If you look into kind of some antiques and archaeological evidences around the world, particularly in Germany, in UK, in the museums, you will see very fine art that's being done during that era with gold, with iron, etc. So this maybe is the last comment that I will add to what's been said by Tony.
And then, because this is a very nice comment from your side, Mr. Hussein, and then we can have your our last word, our honorable guest, Dr. Tony Andrew, for Sudanese people via our channel Alshorooq and our program on the run.
Okay, I would finish up by saying that everybody is probably aware of the fact that the mining industry, the large-scale mining industry, is impactful. It can have impacts on the economy, hopefully good ones. It'll have impacts on the environment and also social impacts as well. The good news story is that with the modern mining industry, the progress and technology that the global mining industry has made on being able to manage the environmental and social impacts are huge. The technology, the knowledge we have now that we didn't have before, we can reduce those impacts and maximize the economic impact while minimizing the social and environmental impacts. And I know that the government of Sudan is very focused on that formula, and they will be able to have access to all of that knowledge and expertise in order to be able to accomplish that. So that's probably an important thing for the citizens of Sudan to know as well.
Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you, Engineer Nasr Elhussein. Thank you, Dr. Tony Andrew. Thank you, our audiences, for following such a nice and wonderful interview. We're very pleased. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And follow us, please.